This is Joann Spotted Bear, also known as Matoglesh Gawi. I'm sitting here with Valria Apple. Valria is a Teton Treaty grandmother here in the state of South Dakota for the LAKOTA, Dakota grandmothers. She's also a grandmother who helped me to report the embezzlement and the housing fraud on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And we also spoke to Tracy Toulou, right? In Washington, D.C. Valria, this video, like I told you, it's going to go to nationwide. And I have 100,000 friends on Facebook. And like I told you, I do a radio show with famous and country western singer Lacey J. Dalton. And on that radio show, we have 16 million listeners nationwide and worldwide. What's going to happen with this video is I'm going to help it to go nationwide, international, worldwide, and then it's going to sit on the Facebook page of 7 ambassadors. So like I told you, if there's anything you got to say while we're here together, I'd like you to tell this government what we think. Go ahead.
Okay, yesterday we had
Introduce yourself.
Oh, okay, I'm Valira Apple. I'm 71 years old, and I worked for our Oklahoma Sioux tribe for 45 years, and I'm the grandmother of 43 grandchildren and 27 great-grandchildren. And I'm kind of trying to get active in all the Indian issues now. When you work for the tribal government, you can't do that. And yesterday we had a meeting. We've got a problem that's going on here on this reservation, and that is the council, our council, 19 members. They don't ask anybody. They're put in there by each district. We have 9 communities, and we have 2 councilmen for each community, but they don't listen to what the people want. They just go ahead and do their own thing. And one was impeached, and there was 5 council members that went and stuck up for him. He was impeached for I don't know, a bunch of stuff, trying to beat up on a lady at a ball game, and real bad reports on him. But they just went ahead and they reinstated him, and the president of the tribe did that. That was Brian Brewer. He's the one that took
Is that the, okay, out around Pine Ridge, you may not know, but I get a lot of reports in Reno about this council member named Garfield Little Dog Still.
He's the one.
And we also heard that he's been molesting children, branding them like horses.
Yes.
And beating up
my granddaughter's one of them, so I know for a fact.
We're trying to stop this. Lacey J. Dalton are trying to stop the horse slaughter because they're feeding horses to the people, and some of them are contaminated meat. And they okayed the horse slaughter through the National Congress for American Indians. Did you know that?
No.
And Brian Brewer took John Kevin Still to the National Congress meeting in Reno, Nevada just this past year. And so what you have to say is, I just want you to know that I am aware of the people and the names. So they're not hiding nothing from me.
Yes, it's a Garfield Little Dog. It's Steele. He goes by, he didn't know who his father was, so he just lately changed his name. But my brother raised him, but he was always a rebellious kid, and he was our biggest drug dealer. Anything he sells, and he's got gang members. He tells them, there's a lot of stories about what he's done, but he appeases them with drugs, and they're quiet for a while, but it comes out again later, But yesterday we went to a meeting, and it was all elders, and they made a resolution to get rid of all of the councilmen, go into receivership, which is going to be something good. At least they got all the money. We're $90 million in the hole that we owe Chapel.
Do you know that the corporation, the tribe is a corporation, and by withholding those treaties and taking the name Tetons, that they have no business selling anything to anybody without approval by the tribe as a whole.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Yeah, the treaties supersede the corporation, and the corporation is supposed to be approved by the people, not just go and make decisions. But because they're withholding those treaties in Washington, they're subduing the people. And then I know about sovereign immunity with the separation of the tribes. What do you think about that idea?
Well, there really is no separation of power. It's just something that went through. It was a mandate of the people, but the tribe won't recognize that they put themselves above that separation of power. So they have the final say-so on anything.
The sovereign immunity, right? Of the treaty. Sovereign immunity versus the tribe? Okay, what about the docket 80-40, where tribe has no say in treaty? Sovereignty.
I heard that for the first time yesterday, but I didn't know about it before.
That's very important because the UN, I wrote a letter about sovereign immunity, that the people just want their money and they don't want the tribe.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
Well, that's kind of what was said yesterday in that meeting. So we have a resolution. They're going to meet with the superintendent Thursday, and they're going to present that. And they want all the elders there, so we're all going in Thursday morning at 10. And to show that that's just not a few of them, it's a lot of us that want that, And we can get it going to receivership. I think that would be the best for all of us.
Because there was a lot of documents turned over to the United Nations. The United Nations said that the BIA in Washington, D.C., the paper, how it goes is from the tribe to the BIA to Washington, and then Washington faxes those papers to the United Nations. But between the tribe and Washington, those papers were manipulated. So those documents that I had, that I sent to the United Nations, they said, SOB, we never knew how much problems were on the reservations. So what I'm asking is that BIA and Washington and the tribe, the sovereign immunity now is separated, because the sovereign immunity is what's keeping our people poor, keeping our homes we have condemned homes that people are paying rent on. Not everybody gets a good home. And I was also told by my brother is in regional right now, and he may not make it, so I was saying my goodbyes. My aunt Zelda Fasthorse passed away, that's why I'm here today. But running into you is a godsend. But what I'm trying to tell you is I think it would be better if all of us got money ourselves. I know there's a lot of drinking and a lot of drugs, but when the government sold the treaties back to the people, they should have given all the treaties back to 564 federal recognized tribes, not pick and choose who they're going to give a treaty to and who they're not. The tribe, not only did they withhold those treaties, the tribal government helped the government to withhold those treaties, but they also helped them to oppress our people. And that's what we're fighting for today, is to basically the separation of powers. And once we do away with the government of the United States, we now deal with the United Nations, and that's why I think we should be dealing with. What do you think?
I think that's where we should go, is to the United Nations, because right now this council, they're trying to accept the money, $4 billion for the Black Hills, and the LAKOTA, they don't want to. Well, I guess it's with every reservation. We've got eight reservations, and they don't want to sell it. That's the first they've heard about it. But our greedy council, our greedy people there, I said they want to take it. And actually, what really happens is when money is brought in, like the Salazar money was brought in, and before that, the Altel Well, the people at the bottom, the full bloods at the bottom, they never seen any of it.
I never seen nothing.
I never even seen $1 either. And then when the Salazar money came out, well, it was, they gave $400 to every member in the community, but off the reservation, we have a lot of enrolled members that didn't get nothing. And they're gonna sue, I guess, they're gonna start suing. But that's one thing, right now, that's why we're getting this receivership, is because they're trying to get the Black Hills money.
Do you think it's fair for anybody to sell Wounded Knee?
No, I think it should just be returned because of the way that those people got it. Well, the lady they bought it from, she was, her daughter was in prison and one daughter was home, and they had, somehow they made her sign that paper to sell that part. You know, it wasn't the massacre wasn't yet. I mean, it was, you know, way at that time, 18, I think it was 18 something. They had her sign those papers, and then somehow it went over to another person from another Indian tribe, and from there it went to the white people. And now that's who says, they say owns it. Why didn't they give that much money to the first lady that, you know, owned that land? I don't think they should do that.
The way I understand Wounded Knee is, the way that you know I'm from Wounded Knee, right?
Yeah.
Originally from Wounded Knee?
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to verify that to the people because a lot of them, they say that, oh, Joann, she's not a Lakota. Oh, Joann, she's not from Wounded Knee. Oh, Joann, she's just talking.
Yeah.
So would you please verify?
Yeah, Joann, I've known Joann now, I don't know how many, about 5 years, 6 years? I mean, but I know that she was, she is a full blood, and she is from Wounded Knee originally, but I don't know how they got a hold of her, but she's, you know, she was in foster care, or was it?
Yeah, my dad died. My dad and Grandma Helen, they died, and I was raised with my Aunt Lee. Then I went off on my own, and I became, went outside the circle and started doing things, and then I came back in the circle again. But yes, originally I was adopted out when my dad and my mom died. Yes.
Yeah, so I know Joann. She is from Wounded Knee. Full blood from Wounded Knee.
The reason I ask that is because we have a lot of sacred sites that are being sold out there, and what I always stick to really strong is this. And when my grandma was alive, they said that when the Wounded Knee massacre happened, they asked Red Cloud to send a group of people to go and kill this government, and nobody did. And this one preacher came by Wounded Knee, and he promised to take care of that land. And if he couldn't take care of it, he would return it back to the people. And so they said that if it was a white man that owned that land, why didn't he stay after they slaughtered the people? Because there's over 41,000 Lakotas, right?
Yeah.
On our land, and we could have easily killed all of them put together, but we didn't. So this one man, he came in with a Bible, and he promised to take care of that land if he can build a church. So they allowed him to build a church to take care of that cemetery. And they were never supposed to sell it at all because land isn't for sale among our people, right? That means the Black Hills too, right?
Yes, it's a Black Hills.
Now, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to look at the camera and talk to the 7 ambassadors of the world. One of them is the chief ambassador, and the chief ambassador, he lives in Lebanon, Dubai, a place called Dubai. And the other one is the president of the United Nations, and I believe he's Italian. I can't remember exactly, but I have him on my Facebook. So if you have anything that you really want to say to the people, 100 million people, plus 19 million listeners on the radio, and the United Nations, if you can tell the world anything right now, what would you tell all of us as an elder? And a Lakota elder at that.
Yeah, I think Well, the thing that is on my mind right now is the Black Hills, the sale of the Black Hills, and I don't like that at all. And we've had past presidents in there. I just heard our last lady president was all for selling the Black Hills, and she, brought that up, and it's continuing into this administration. And I don't think that's right because we didn't know about it. They went to Washington and tried to do the dealings up there, and there's the full-bloods are against it. The full-blood Indians are against it. And one time, some of the full-bloods went up there, the Najas, they call them, and they went up to Washington, and Obama said he wanted to hear from the full-bloods. He said, what is your, what's your perspective on this? And he said, if I can, if you can get the whole council, or, whoever speaks for the Sioux, and come up with, something. He said, well, he would go ahead and release, give the money, but he needed some full-bloods in there. And that's a report they made when they came 2 years ago, I think they made that report, where he got back in there again. And I think we need to do something, right away, because we don't want that. We don't want to sell the Black Hills. It's ours. We haven't got any kind of minerals out there, the gold, the uranium, trees, whatever, water, whatever they took out of there, and they are making use of all that, and that isn't even put into the amount that they're saying they owe us, and that's 1.4 billion. But they didn't calculate all the rest of that stuff, so I think that needs to be in there.
One of the grandmothers asked me to come back and to run for tribal president because they said that they know voting fraud took place.
Oh yeah, the voting fraud, yeah.
And they asked if what I thought about it, and I said that you grandmothers really need to think about what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Because this is going worldwide. This is bigger than Pine Ridge, it's bigger than Keeley, it's bigger than Washington, D.C. can ever be. And this is really notoriously your time. This is not my time. If you want me to come back, then you need to tell them out there why you want me to come back. Because I have a son. I built a home in Reno, and I have a 16-year-old son. And they understand that our people need a great leader. But great leaders, they don't just come just because they're supposed to be there. They come because the people they call, and they have a reason. And our people are supposed to work together, but because of corruption, there is nobody working together. So if you can tell the world and my son and our friends and the people who love the great Teton nation, what would you tell all of us? What would you do to ask for something more better? Because it's not easy for me to just drop my home and my son and just come back. So to make that more better for all of us.
Well, yesterday we had one of our chiefs talk, and he said that we have, since the English language came in, we all talk with forked tongues. So he said, watch what you say, what comes out of there. He said, there's something hanging here, and I can't remember what he called it, but he said, that's, once your mouth opens, he said, and that comes to play. But he said, don't use your mouth. Everything you do comes from the heart, and you're going to see that everything straightens out, which I believe, because I said, all the years that I've worked for the tribe, I said, I've always been, you're like a servant, a public servant to the other people, You're getting money, you're getting paid, and you have to, be good, be good to the people, and stuff. And 45 years of working with the tribe, I said, I've always done that, and I don't know, the way everything's going now, I just really don't approve of anything. And I think that was kind of the message we got yesterday. And I said, I watched a documentary on Dennis Banks, and at the end, he gave 3 reasons why they had the wounded knee. And after he said all those reasons and explained, and I said, that's what's going on right now today, with our council. It's a wonder he were younger if he had some younger kids that would, you know, take after him. I said he would probably do the same thing, come again, you know.
There's two things you brought up. One was money, one was when you eat. So we're going to talk about the money first. I'm trying to raise $50,000 to give to the grandmothers. In a week and a half, we raised $6,000 for propane, and we gave it to people in Pine Ridge. Now we have an account where there's about $400 in there, and the United Nations and Renegade Radio and coming from One to E, I'm trying to put all those big names together to bring it to Pine Ridge, okay? And I want to help our people, and I'm trying to help our people, and it's not easy helping our people. And the other thing is National Congress for American Indians and one ambassador in the United Nations asked me not to walk from Reno to Pine Ridge through One to Washington. They said if I did, because of the amount of support that I had, by the time we reached Washington, we could literally destroy it. Okay? And as LAKOTAs, I'm not a half-breed. I'm not a fake person. You know me, I'm going to go and I'm going to do something and I'm going to get it done, and that's all there is going to be to it. Now, this corporation, the United States government, can you tell us the story of how the United States government got here? Why do they call this land America? Why don't they call it LAKOTA land?
Well, I don't know how the United States government got here, but I know how, what the hell's the guy's name that came over in the Mayflower?
Oh, Christopher Columbus?
Yeah, that's why when they had, everybody was, I said, when did they start saying that? Everybody was saying Happy Thanksgiving. I said, I never heard that before. But I told them, I said, well, I don't know what's so happy about it except eating turkey. But I said, we already had that here when they found us. But, you know, as far as the federal government, I said, I know it formed, start forming from there. But I said, as far as history, I said, I haven't been good in any kind of history. So I said, I never really know anything about it,
When a full blood is a full blood, how do we live our life? What's our basics as full blood? Our language, what else?
Language and our, we have in the Bible it talks about what how many beatitudes they have, and that tells you, kind of gives you a rundown of how you're supposed to live. Well, the LAKOTAs already had all those, and the generosity, things that came from the heart. I can't remember all of them. There's 5 of them, but respect. I can't remember the word.
Spirituality.
Oh, spirituality.
Traditional.
Traditional.
The reason that I asked about these things is because I get real sick in my stomach, and I want to help our people, but I don't never want to cross that fine line of being a LAKOTA versus being that one with the snake tongue.
Oh yeah.
And I want to always respect what our LAKOTA people have taught us. I carry eagle feathers and a chanupa and a buckskin dress and these traditional songs in my heart with me. And I feel that if I get too mad, it's wrong. But if I say something and address somebody, they're going to feel it. But then there was a saying that when you use those traditional ways, that it's like swiping somebody with an eagle feather but not quite touching them. Is that true?
Ooh, I wouldn't know. Really, I said I was raised from the time I was 3 years old in nothing but Catholic and boarding schools. I was at the boarding school clear up till I was 4th grade, from 3 years old to, I can't remember, about maybe 10. Then from there, I went to a Catholic school, and I was there. They just take you to the school and drop you off, and we had 10 in our family, and, that kind of helped my dad because we lived up here in Rapid City, and then those older ones would go to school down there. So I really didn't learn the traditional part of how our life was. The only real tradition I knew was to copy my grandmother's. I was raised by two grandmothers, one in Anderson and one in Kaya. So I went back and forth to them, and that's where I learned a lot of stuff, how to be humble, how to be good of heart and respect all the other people, and help them, and I just lived with it. It was in me, and I had one guy tell me, he said, you can tell when a person was raised by the grandparents because they're like very humble, and I said, yeah, I was. Raised by two grandparents, and I said,
The reason that I ask these questions is because our spirituality is so strong that they said they can move thunderclouds, right?
yeah.
And that our spirituality is so strong that if somebody really believed in these traditional ways, they can raise a dead dog from being dead, right?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. But I said when I was raised with my grandmother moved in Anderson, and she used to, when the real bad storm would be coming, she'd have me walk with her clear out on her. It was on the hill where she lived. And she'd have me walk with her over there, and she would pray.
Prayer for our people is number one, right?
Yeah.
Before anything in the world is prayer. The reason that I ask is because if the United Nations was to come, I'd like the UN to come, the chief ambassador, the president, all ambassadors around the world to come and to meet people, our grandmothers and grandfathers, our grandmothers like Valria Apple, Lorraine Eagleout, Leona Bullbear, Wilma Thinout, all these grandmothers to come and meet and get their story and look at these homes that are condemned and look at the children, how they're mistreated and things like that, the drugs and alcohol that subdue our people. And how about our veterans? What about our veterans?
Well, they're not taking care of the veterans real good either. I said, because my brother, who was a Vietnam veteran twice, he went over for his tour of duty, and he's staying at a veterans home that they have in Pine Ridge, and he's the only combat veteran there. He said the rest are all, did a tour.
If we could make a change on Pine Ridge, what do you think it could be? What kind of changes do you think that Pine Ridge needs? I mean, I could name a whole bunch, but what's your thoughts?
Well, my whole working career has happened in Pine Ridge. Like I said, 45 years I worked for the tribe. I paid not too much attention to my home. It was always a place I go home to and, cook, eat, go to bed, get up early the next morning and get right back to Pine Ridge. I drove 44 miles a day to get there and then home. But I don't know the change. I think what they need to do is move that tribal office out of Pine Ridge. They need to move it out in the districts. They put a big jail there. How much did that cost? $44,000? $1 million? And who's the ones? You go there every day, look at who's the Indian, who's always in jail. It's nothing but the homeless.
Mm-hmm. I was a law advocate.
Yeah. And Pat E said that, well, we have our regulars. Pat E is the chief judge that they ousted too because he, did right and wouldn't listen to the council. So I said, he even knew that. He said, well, we have our regulars, they're always here, which it is year after year after year. That's the way it goes, all the regulars. But should a breed get in jail, they're out within about 4 or 5 hours.
Some of them stay there 6 months to up to 2 years, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And some of them are forgotten and they stay in there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our foodlets.
Foodlets, yeah. That the other thing too, usually when you do something to a full blood, you know, you do them wrong, they're not going to fight back. They'll just go ahead and take, you know, well, you know, they have some inner strength that probably lets them know that they're not going to have to fight back. It'll all come back to them, just like karma. You know what comes around goes around, or what goes around comes around. But I said, you know, and I've seen that happen a lot of times where the Indian just don't, or the full blood just doesn't fight back. You know. So that's how the whole reservation is. You know, the full bloods get pushed around by the breeds, and it's kind of a breed squirrel anyway.
What is a breed?
A breed is, I think we have people there that have about 1/16 Indian blood in them, and they practically look like, you know, they're real like. I mean, they could just pass off for whites, you know, but the Indian is, you know. I don't know. They're more tuned into their family life and stuff, and they don't try to you know, make themselves look good for anybody. You know, they're at home living their life and doing what they have to do, and that's I don't know. And they're full-bloods, and you can tell they're full-bloods because they have light dark hair and, you know, the Indian features, everything. You know, and I said we don't look like whites.
These reasons that I'm asking you, Valria, for these questions is you're not just helping me, but you're helping all of our reservations.
Yes.
You're helping Manderson, Wounded Knee, Pine Ridge, 563 other federal recognized tribes nationwide. Canada included, Alaska, Hawaii, Micronesia, and Belize. But our reservation, we work together to try to make it more better. And our families don't always agree on the same thing, but what we try to do is we try to listen to our elders and to learn off of our elders. You know the story behind the elders? The story of the elders?
No, I don't.
Okay, the way I understand it is the elders, they live the longest and they know the most. That's what I understand.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was raised with my grandparents, but, you know, they never came right out and said, do this and do that. You know, it was just something, the way you copied them, the way they wanted you to be, and you were just that way, you know. And I don't know, I said, and I took a civil service exam back in '64. I got a GS4, and one of my friends that I went to school with now, she's a GS15, you know. And I said, I wanted to work for the tribe because of the LAKOTA speaking. You know, I can speak it fluently, I can understand it, read, write. And right now, I said, I went for a job interview, and one of the things that was on the job interview says, must understand and speak the LAKOTA language. And the person they put in here doesn't even know anything. And the second person they had for the alternate, she doesn't know how to speak. So I said, again, you see how they put them down, you know.
Can you, there's well over, in Reno, all alone, there's 2,000 Lakotas from Wounded Knee alone that are in the Nevada area. And if you can tell all of us out in the urban world something in Lakota, what would you tell us in Lakota to keep our hearts going strong? What would be some good encouragement words?
Well, if they were born on the res, there's always something there. And just like I said, I gave up all the jobs because I wanted to be around people that spoke LAKOTA, you know, and that's why I stayed in Pine Ridge. But I think there's that connection there with anybody that leaves the reservation. They always know they have a home. You know, there's some connection there that'll always bring them back, and you know they can call it home no matter where they're at. You know.
Can you tell us something in Lakota?
Dage pinta.
Daku hecha washte, daku hecha.
Let's see. LAKOTA Yushkia. Yushkia Omanibe. Lecha Lila Techi Uha. Na Hecha Washtea Secha. Ash. Ujiski. Lichim, Lecha. And you always have a home here. Like I said, I speak it and I understand it fully and everything, but I haven't spoken it for quite a while, and that's what I'm going back to now. I'm 71 years old and I spoke to LAKOTA. I had a lady come up to me and ask me, she said, you know, well, when you came to school and they dropped you off, you didn't even know a word of English. So I said, I know. I said, well, I learned the English language and try to forget my own, but it's something you never forget. If you grow up that way, you always remember it. You know? So people say, I went to a boarding school and forgot it, but when you do this every day, you have to practice it, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do now, and it's kind of hard for me to get my sentences together, you know, but I'm doing it.
All right, we're going to close up this session of the interview, and if you think that I could be a better help somehow, please let the grandmothers know.
Okay.
You can always give me a phone call. You can watch the video on Facebook, on my Facebook,
Okay.
and friend me back.
Right now I haven't got a computer. Our computer crashed and I never got it fixed, so we don't have anything I can't even get on Facebook or anything. But I'm looking for a cheap one.
By using, you know, maybe we can have a sponsor to help Valria get a computer. She is one of our most trusted grandmothers, one of them, and she does help our Oglala LAKOTA Tinshpat. So with that being said, Valria, I'm gonna close this out. You can see it on the internet sometimes tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
And today is December 2nd, or 1st? December 2nd, December 2nd, 2010, 5:30 p.m. We're in Rocket City, South Dakota, and I thank you for doing this interview with me.
All right. Thank you.